Welcome back. Time is 3:39. You with me, Martin Daubry, on GB News. Now, the Reform UK leader, Nigel Farage, has set his sights on seizing control of 6 London councils next year. Now, in May, all 32 London boroughs will contest at the polls, including across the Reform-leaning outer belts and Kent. Now, Reform UK is hoping it has a golden chance, they claim, of helping to topple Sir Sadiq Khan as London's mayor, maybe in 2028. Well, they got their sights set on Sadiq Khan.
If you thought the London mayoral race was a settled affair of cycle lanes and ULEZ cameras, think again. Nigel Farage has just entered the chat, and he hasn't come for a polite debate. He has come with a political sledgehammer. The Reform UK leader is gearing up for a political earthquake in the 2026 local elections, specifically targeting 6 London councils that have long been considered untouchable Labour fortresses. While Sadiq Khan rests on a record he calls successful, Farage is pointing at the sirens, the shuttered police stations and the mobile phone snatchers, effectively branding the capital a lawless playground for criminals. It is the ultimate showdown, the man who branded himself Mr. Brexit versus the mayor who turned London into a Remain stronghold. This is not just a campaign, it is an obliteration of the current status quo. Quick favour, if you're loving this, hit that subscribe button. Over 92% of viewers haven't yet. It's free, takes a second and means the world to us. Thanks if you did. Now back to the show. The London earthquake, Farage's 6 council blitz. For years, the conventional wisdom in Westminster was that Nigel Farage and London went together like oil and water. The capital is young, diverse and voted overwhelmingly to stay in the European Union. But as we head into January 2026, Farage is throwing the rulebook into the River Thames. He has announced that Reform UK is officially going for gold, targeting 6 key London councils in the upcoming May 2026 local elections. The hit list is strategic. The Conservative-held boroughs of Bromley and Bexley, the independently held Havering Council, and the Labour heartland of Barking and Dagenham. 1. Farage's logic is simple. Everything has changed since the 2024 general election. He believes the Labour vote in London is no longer a solid block but a crumbling ruin. He is looking at the rise of Zach Polanski's Green Party, which has more than doubled its membership this year, and the emergence of Gaza Independence and Jeremy Corbyn's Your Party movement. Farage smells blood in the water. He told the Daily Mail that Labour is going to find their vote horrendously split. It is a relatable analogy. Labour is trying to hold together a vase that has already been smashed, and Farage is the one pointing out the cracks while holding a broom. The strategy here is a mid-term style assault. Farage is likening the 2026 local elections to the US midterms, where the incumbent party usually gets a bloody nose. By targeting boroughs like Havering and Barking and Dagenham, Reform UK is looking to capitalise on the left-behind voters in outer London who feel the mayor's policies, particularly ULEZ and housing, have ignored them. It is a bold move into territory that has traditionally been a no-go zone for Farage-led parties. If he manages to flip even 2 of these councils, the political map of the capital will be rewritten overnight. Crime and the not caring mayor. Now let us get to the heart of the obliteration. Farage has launched a blistering attack on Sadiq Khan's record on crime, saying the city is in big trouble. It is a punchy one-liner that resonates with anyone who has tried to walk through the West End after dark lately. Farage claims that crime is everywhere and that Sadiq's record is one of almost not caring about it. He pointed out a staggering statistic: 87% of police stations in London closed under the Conservatives, a trend he argues Khan has failed to reverse or even properly address. Farage didn't just stop at statistics, he made it personal. He claimed that he doesn't know anybody in London who hasn't been a victim of crime. To illustrate his point, he shared the story of a relative whose mobile phone was stolen. Despite the device having a tracker on it, the police allegedly did nothing. This is the broken windows theory in action. The idea that if you ignore the small crimes like phone snatching and shoplifting, you invite the big crimes to move in and set up shop. Farage is promising a radical change in how these offences are handled, moving away from the current system where police often seem just not interested in anything that doesn't involve a high-speed chase. 2. The numbers back up the sense of frustration. In the year to March 2025, there were more than 530,000 cases of shoplifting reported across the country, the highest figure since 2003. In London, the British Retail Consortium believes the real number of cases across the country could be over 20 million. Only 18% of reported shoplifting cases lead to a charge. Farage's response: every single shoplifting case should be prosecuted, every single one. It is a zero-tolerance stance that he explicitly models on Rudy Giuliani's 1990s New York. For he wants to take the most dangerous city and turn it into the safest city, and he thinks Sadiq Khan is the main obstacle to that goal. The mayor strikes back, facts versus friction. Of course, City Hall isn't taking this lying down. A spokesman for Sadiq Khan has rejected Farage's claims with a flurry of their own statistics. They claim there have been 22,000 fewer offences across the capital in the last year. According to the mayor's office, burglary, personal robbery and vehicle crime are all down, with gun crime and violence with injury also showing a reduction. They are framing Farage as one of the politicians and commentators who continue to denigrate London and talk our great city down. It is a classic he said, she said battle of the spreadsheets. City Hall says the Metropolitan Police have been backed with record investment, while Farage says the streets feel less safe than ever. The reality likely lies somewhere in the middle, but in politics, perception is often more important than the official accredited statistics. When Policy Exchange reports that only 1 in 20 robberies in London are solved, the mayor's talk of record investment feels a bit like being told your house is secure while the front door is hanging off its hinges. 5. The mayor's office acknowledges there is still more to do, but they are betting on the hard work of the Met to carry them through the 2026 local elections. Farage, meanwhile, is betting on the fact that Londoners are tired of being told crime is down while they are being warned not to wear expensive watches in the West End. It is a high-stakes gamble on the public mood. If Londoners feel safer, Khan wins. If they feel like they are living in a broken Windows nightmare, Farage's earthquake might just happen.
Let me tell you why this is a diversion, why we're not having a proper debate. So Khan there accusing Anderson of being anti-Muslim, Islamophobic, racist. That's the same mayor of London, the very same mayor of London, who didn't say a word about what happened in Parliament Square last week, didn't say a word about from the river to the sea being projected onto Big Ben. And I'm not going to say that the way Lee Anderson put his words was necessarily the brightest use of English, but Mr. Khan, if you're worried about racism, if you're worried about discrimination, what about what's being said to Jews in London, the city that you're the mayor of? What about those scenes in Parliament Square last week? I'm waiting to hear you say something.
The Labour split, a fragmented fortress. Perhaps the most dangerous threat to Sadiq Khan isn't Nigel Farage's rhetoric, but the fragmentation of the Labour vote itself. Farage's observation that the Labour vote is horrendously split is grounded in current polling realities. In central London, the Green Party under Zach Polanski is siphoning off young, eco-conscious voters who are disillusioned with Keir Starmer's austerity-light approach. Then you have the Gaza independents, who have already cost Labour significant vote shares in boroughs like Newham, where their support fell by 26 percentage points in the last outing 7. Even Jeremy Corbyn's rumoured Your Party movement is lurking in the shadows, ready to take a bite out of the progressive wing. In places like West Ham and Beckton, independents are already polling at 20%. 8. This means that in the 2026 local elections, Labour won't just be fighting Reform UK on the right. They will be fighting a multi-front war on the left. If the anti-Labour vote is no longer concentrated in one place, the path to victory for an insurgent party like Reform becomes much wider. Farage's plan to model his campaign on the US midterms is a clever bit of branding. It frames the local elections as a national referendum on the first 2 years of the Starmer government. If the Labour vote really gets hit, as Farage predicts, it won't just be because people have suddenly become Reform UK fans. It will be because the Labour fortress has become so divided that it can no longer defend its own walls. The Gaza effect, the Green surge and the Farage factor are all converging on London at the exact same time. It is a perfect storm for a Prime Minister and a Mayor who thought they had the capital in their pocket. Shoplifting with impunity, the 20 million case crisis. Let us zoom in on the issue of shoplifting because it is the ultimate symbol of the lawless London narrative. Farage's claim that you can now shoplift with impunity isn't just a bold exaggeration, it reflects a genuine crisis in retail. With the British Retail Consortium estimating 20 million cases nationwide, the fact that only 18% of reported cases lead to a charge is a staggering indictment of current policing priorities. For the average shop owner in Barking or Bromley, the record investment from City Hall doesn't put bread on the table when their stock is being walked out the front door every day. Farage's solution, prosecuting every single case, is the kind of simple, punchy policy that wins votes. It sounds expensive, and it probably is, but it addresses a visceral sense of unfairness. Why should the law-abiding citizen pay for their groceries while others get a five-finger discount with no consequences? By invoking Rudy Giuliani, Farage is signalling that he wants to bring American-style toughness to the London streets. 9, he wants to prioritise the victim over the perpetrator, a message that is finding a very receptive audience in areas where prolific offenders are seen walking free from court 44% of the time. This focus on law and order is the heart of the reform campaign. 10, they aren't just talking about immigration anymore, they are talking about the basic safety of the streets. If Farage can convince Londoners that Sadiq Khan has failed on the most fundamental duty of a mayor, keeping the public safe, then the Labour stronghold might just crumble. The 2026 local elections will be the first real test of whether Farage's radical change can cut through the noise of a city that has traditionally rejected him.
Sadiq Khan, our great Mayor of London, is running scared. He's turned down an offer to debate Reform UK's leader Nigel Farage about the astonishing levels of crime in the capital. Of course he has. When Sadiq's not blaming everything on the far right.
What I find unacceptable, though, is some of those who've got legitimate objections joining hands with some of those outside who are part of a far-right group who are... Some of those outside are part of the far right.
And if it's not the far right's fault, he's dodging questions.
I asked you this question last week and you found every which way but not to answer it. Just how many grooming gangs have we got in London?
Avoiding a misunderstanding, can she define what she means by that?
Yes, if you look at what's gone on in Rotherham, where there are people taking young girls, grooming them for sex, that is what I'm talking about.
Or he's jetting off to other countries like America to discuss legalising cannabis in the UK.
The earthquake warning, what happens next? So, is Nigel Farage about to obliterate Sadiq Khan's legacy? The Mayor's office says the facts don't support the lawless narrative, but Farage isn't fighting with facts alone. He is fighting with the lived experience of millions of Londoners. As we approach the official campaign launch in January, the tension in the capital is palpable. Reform UK is polling in second place in Scotland and is seeing a genuine collapse in the Labour vote across the country. London is the final frontier. If Farage can trigger a political earthquake in the May 2026 local elections, it will set the stage for the 2028 mayoral race. It would prove that no part of the UK is safe for the established parties anymore. Whether you love him or loathe him, Farage has a knack for finding the grievance and turning it into a movement. In London, that grievance is crime, and Sadiq Khan is currently the man standing in the line of fire. The British Report will be watching every precinct and every police station closure as we head toward the vote. The broken window strategy is about to meet the Labour fortress in a collision that will define the future of the capital. Will Sadiq Khan's record investment save him, or will Farage's mid-term assault bring the whole house down? Only time and the voters of Bromley, Bexley and Barking will tell. Thank you for watching the British Report.